Excellent. Thank you all for joining tonight. Thank you, Anna, for joining as well. With everything prior to the recording in hand, we are just going to kick off. We are in the sleepy ghost town, this ghost village, this fishing district next to the Cold Loch, just at the base of the ice spires, close to where Adrick hails from, his home, his the city of Bolgantech, a nestled, remote dwarven settlement that he has not visited for roughly 3 months of travel. You've all been looking around this village, going to a couple of the buildings, trying to find out and piece together the puzzles left behind by why people have voluntarily left, maybe not voluntarily left. But we left off with Locke. You have been flying across the Cold Loch, and something on the opposite end has caught your eye. Almost an identical village, or what would have been, except it lacks the dedicated features and silhouettes of large buildings, a wall corralling these structures against the water's edge. The rest of the party, Bree, you have now climbed down from that pinnacle, that large rocky outcropping in the center of this village, and you have been trying to work out the pattern, the ruts in the floor. And after noticing that, yes, this does make a full circle around this courtyard and back onto itself out of the northern gate, you have gone to join Weylin, Adrick, and Kokopelli, as Kokopelli has now gone into the church, the temple area. Weylin, Adrick, you are behind Kokopelli as the large oak door swings open, letting out a gasp of air. This door hasn't been opened for some time. Nothing has been disturbed, nothing has been wrecked. It is completely devoid of life, completely devoid of any sign of conducting sermons, rituals, festivities, meetings, anything that would be done in the running of the village. Hartsvale is standing tall in the center of the town, making sure that nothing surprises you all, keeping watch, as it were. So, what we'll do, because Locke, you're still trying to get across the waters, above the water's surface. It does take a while to get across. So because of that time, what we'll do is we'll swing to the fore at the southern village of the Cold Loch. Kokopelli, what are you doing within the temple?
So, I think last session we did something, and then there was utter silence. So I know there was there's pretty much like an empty temple, no candlelit stuff. It's a temple of no worship, anything is welcome sort of thing.
Yes, it doesn't have any sort of insignias dedicating itself solely to one or a sort of a similar group of deities. It's almost as if anyone of any good or neutral worship can come here to conduct their rituals, their prayers, and maybe ask for guidance from time to time of the head priest that would be running this church, this temple.
Okay. Is there anything else in the room, like cupboards, drawers and stuff?
So there's right at the end of the structure, there is the stage where the podium, the book stand, where the head priest would be giving out prayers, thoughts, quotes, etc. That is completely devoid of any furniture, key items. There's no chests, no tables, no nothing. Akin to that of the longhouses that you have skulked through when you got to this settlement. The sconces that hold the candles, they too have melted down so much that they hold the remnants of the melted wax with the wicks completely burnt.
Could I go see the sconces? So do I know if they've been hardened after they've been melted?
It's melted down fully. It's clawing at the wrought iron that would holding the candle up against the wall's face, and it's completely cold to the touch. So the candle has been out for some time.
Okay. Could I check the podium real quick?
Sure thing. There's a couple of books there. with some handwritten notes throughout. You thumb through, but nothing jumps out. This seems to be the preparation work of the head priest, working out from day to day what he's going to present to his flock, his following, or some of the musings, almost like a diary of sorts, of those that have come to the Cold Loch area of this southern settlement. Trying to just take note of what's been said, and you can see there's been some scribbling. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. This was a good idea. Let's include this. Just the ramblings of someone trying to plan.
Any notes about passerbys of random deities that they've been worshipping and stuff?
Yeah, so they all, from your knowledge and from the stories told through word of mouth and the poetry that you know, they all seem to be of good and neutral alignment. Some a little bit chaotic from time to time, mainly some of the minor tricksters within the pantheon of gods. But there's nothing really pointing out saying, oh, I don't like this guy, this was weird. All seems to be written as if there's no malintent behind any of the meetings that this head priest has had.
Okay. Were there any names of the deities at all?
Yes.
But yes. I swear.
I just love working myself into a hole. So, a couple of people, which is quite common. There's Shantir, which is the goddess of agriculture, generally aligned being neutral good, and the domains are like life, nature. There is some of the worshippers of Soon, which is the goddess of love and beauty, slightly a trickster of sorts. There are tales of her sort of playing tricks on those that are trying to find love, but never do, whereas those that never truly want to find love end up finding it in the oddest of places. There is Lyra, the goddess of joy, again, chaotic good. Because of the area, because of how close you are to the woods, it seems that a lot of the notes appended to these almost quotes. It's almost like a guest book in a way that you would see within a tavern. They all have a nature angle, life. Some of them have like a knowledge. A lot of them seem to be farmers, travelers, hikers through the mountains that have asked for guidance and blessings and basically good luck along their journey.
Okay. What was that second god with the trickster again? Sorry, I cut out once you about said name.
The second trickster goddess would have been Lyra, the goddess of joy.
Oh, okay.
I think. Yeah.
Fair enough. Kokopelli's not a very religious person. I don't think he's going to go on his knees and try and contact, see what the hell is going on. He's just going to look at this and go, okay, nothing suspect yet. Okay. Do I see Weylin now? If he's heading in?
Adrick, Weylin, please, by all means, walk in if you wish.
So, as me and Adrick walk in, Weylin would like to have a look around, see where the dust has settled, and look for signs of quick escape, and/or struggle.
All right.
So he's going to walk in, kind of like a little inspector, palm on the top of his sword, just kind of like looking around, squatting down occasionally to sort of survey the area.
With taking your time going around, let's say in the opposite direction that Kokopelli has taken, going in and out of the pews, you do notice that as you run your finger along the top side of these seats, there is a very thin layer of dust that has settled on its surface. None of the cushions that someone would kneel on to then pray towards the podium, the stage, they have not moved. As you move one of them, you can definitely see there is a different tone of the flagstone underneath it compared to its surrounding. All the sconces, again, just to reiterate, have been fully melted and they are cold to the touch. From the amount of build-up of dust, and just with being the survivalist that you are, one attuned with nature, and doing your tracking and things as a hunter, as a ranger, you know that you've got to be very quick to find tracks and trails before the elements get to them. Now, because this place it doesn't have that, it's sheltered, it's almost slightly difficult to work out how long this place hasn't had any movement, any life, any sort of joy of sound within its halls.
Of course, the tracking, that's quite obvious. But I'm looking for more deep grooves, scratches.
Oh, I see. Yep.
And anything that a boot would make in a rush.
There seems to be a couple of as you go down the main aisle, there are a couple of scuff marks closer towards the entranceway. Whether that's been your own feet, you look at Adrick's boot size and you're like, no, that one's different here, this one's different there. Something has entered in this place and left some form of dirt behind, especially with the way that the layer of dust settles. But either there weren't a lot of people in here to begin with when this place sort of became empty of people, or they were all ushered out very quickly and efficiently.
Yeah, okay. I kind of look at Adrick and shrug.
Are there any cellars or crypts or anything like that?
No,
building?
There. As you were walking around the outside, I will say that there was a small graveyard outside between the palisade wall and the outer walls of the temple. But there doesn't seem to be any doors that would go down to a larder or a cellar. There are no stairwells that go down like that of the Temple of Moradin that you all have been to recently. Nothing. There's a couple of side rooms here and there that would be used for certain functions, but apart from that, nothing shows a lower level to this structure.
Do I know of any magic or any creature that could completely disintegrate people?
You have heard tales within the mines back home, mainly sort of scare tactics of keeping people away from going from a certain depth down. There are the legends told of what people call beholders that do have the means to disintegrate living flesh, but that would have left something in its place from the stories that you remember. Apart from that, unfortunately, that is quite a rare and hard piece of magic, piece of spellcraft to disintegrate life. It's fairly easy to take life, but to actually disintegrate bone and actual living tissue is difficult. It's not impossible, but it does take a large pyre, for example, to burn the remains of those that have deceased.
Okay. So I look back at Weylin then and think, okay, so no one in here.
Yeah, I've got nothing. I don't know where they are. Don't know who's taking them. We know there's some grooves out in the courtyard. But apart from that, trail runs cold.
They've not gone by boat because the boats are still there. Do we look for tracks outside the walls and see if we can work out where people went?
Yeah, I can go ahead and have a look out. Go through the north gate and wander out there for half an hour or so. I'll come back. Should we wait for Locke first?
Yeah, he was gone off flying somewhere. Let's.
True.
I don't know how long
All
he's going to be. Has Kokopelli found anything?
I sort of notice you guys walk in. I may usher you, Adrick, being the religious folk. I'll show you this book I found. Would you know of these gods at all?
Okay. I'll have a look at the book.
Sure thing. The first name that does jump out is the god that was that Golden Fields was almost wholly dedicated to, which is Shamtir. But because of the low hearthlands around the area, especially being so close to the woods, that does make sense, especially with some of the arable lands further north of this location. A couple of the other gods you have heard of, but only very briefly and not to too much detail. The only gods that you do know of, but they are not mentioned within this tome, within this book.
Okay. Is there anything else useful in the book?
I'll flick through the pages a bit more to go to the end. Is there any writing about the last time this person wrote in this book, Griff?
Yes, actually. The last date that was placed within this book was... if I just get the calendar up. Please hold.
I'm holding the book. Is all good?
They are coming. The drums in the deep. They have taken the second hall.
In the time whilst they're doing all the book stuff, Weylin will just set off up north for a little while just to do some honest tracking.
Not a problem. Bree is outside, and you will pass her track. Pass her perspective. So we'll get to you in a second.
We'll do that in a minute, yeah.
So, Ilias was August. You guys are in Ilient, which is September technically.
A while.
I need to make this a bit more of a compendium rather than separate spreadsheets. Okay. So, so you'll be last week of Ilient. So, it would have been the middle of Ilias. The 15th day of the second 10-day of Ilias. That was the last entry within the book.
Which was, 6 weeks ago?
Which is roughly a month ago.
Jesus, okay. What did the last bits of words say at the end of the book?
It seemed to be a group of farmers wanting to have a blessing on their crops, which was further north. There's a couple of names in there, but no surnames, and no surnames of note that you remember. Nor do you recall any of these names, Adrick. But there seemed to have been like a little small festivity done to give them the faith that their turnips would grow hearty and strong.
So there was this ceremony. Was it north, you said, sorry?
It's for some farmland that is north of this area.
Okay. We can check that area, see what's going on there, if it's nearby.
Yeah, but Weylin's gone out to see if he can see any tracks outside, which it might, if there's nothing else in here, this basically is a month since anyone was here.
Guess we'll go find Weylin and then see what's north, see what happens.
And what's worse, probably a month since anyone has come in. There's no sign of anyone else coming here apart from us.
Some of the gods, from what I know, doesn't seem to connect to maybe this. So, I don't know.
Let's go outside again. I'm going outside again.
Okay. Weylin, as you've left Adrick and Kokopelli to contemplate the writings within this book, Bree is still kind of like looking at the ruts within the road. Bree, you hear the door creak back open and Weylin strolls out.
Did you find anything?
Nothing.
Oh, sorry. Apologies. I thought it was a question to me. Sorry. Start again.
Which one did it
Apologies. Start again. Sorry.
All right. So, yeah, no. All right, start again. No, I didn't find anything. No signs of struggle. Just the place was pretty pristine on the inside. Adrick and Kokopelli are just looking into the book.
The book?
Did you find anything? So the holy book.
Oh, okay. So I point over to where Locke is flying, and say, like, there's like a weird patch over there. So Locke's going that way. I'm gonna head over to Hareingon to see what he can assess from this. Where are you gonna go now?
I plan to follow tracks to the north, just to see if I can find anything.
Okay. I'm going to try to keep an eye on Locke, just to make sure everything's okay on his side. Because I think I might...
Yeah, please do.
I might be able to be I might be able to get there faster than everyone else in case something happens. So I'll keep an eye out. Yeah, I'll see you in a couple minutes. Should we meet? I guess you do your thing, and in a couple minutes, if everything's okay, let's meet up over with, I guess over by Harshnag, because he's probably the tallest thing around.
Yeah. I'll be back in 10-20 minutes tops.
All right, sounds good. See you in a bit. I will now take off towards Harshnag, but also kind of keeping an eye on the direction that Locke flew in.
Okay. Yeah, so the pair of you do walk past Harshnag, Weylin off to the north. As you go along, Weylin will also say that you're trying to find any smaller footprints, either within the grass or the shale-like rock that makes up these roads. Bree, you're at the shins of Harshnag.
Harshnag, what do you think is happening here? It seems to be no one in this village. It's quite empty, and there are just ruts all around.
Yes, something large and heavy has come through here. The front gate seems to have been forced inwards from the outside. The tracks do go further north. I do see that your long-eared friend, Weylin, has gone off in that direction. Upon trying to look off into the horizon, there doesn't seem to be any sort of structures for quite some time. So I do hope your friend does not go off for too long. But as you have probably seen from high up on that rocky outcrop just behind me, and as he looks down, he points to the large rut in the floor. You've probably seen these, and this must have been made from something quite large, and to have a constant trail made, with how astute you are with your learnings and the way that you quite quickly learnt how to speak my common native tongue, I'm quite sure you may have guessed what these were caused by. And he raises an eyebrow to you.
Giants. I can't quite pick which giant it could be, though.
The brethren that you all call the fire giants have a bit of a mean streak in them, in that they do sometimes take slaves, take what they call workers, but we all know what that means, with a larger entity belittling and commanding a smaller force than them. I do fear that the inhabitants of this town may have been taken by them, and he sniffs in the air. Do you smell that? He sort of takes in this large sort of it's almost like moving your fur as he sort of inhales in. And then as he exhales out, it's a bit of an odd sort of breeze. It's not particularly pleasant, but this is just how big being up close to a giant again feels. It's quite imposing.
I'll take a whiff after a couple seconds and see if I can smell anything, though I kind of doubt it.
So, well, actually, it's not as prudent as it was back atop those rocks, but you did, especially with going up to this village, there is a scent of soot, of smoke that hangs briefly in the air from time to time, especially when the breeze does settle over the town to allow the air to just wisp in and out of the buildings before being blown off again by the downwinds of the mountains north of yourself.
Okay. My friend Locke turned into a bird and flew over
yes.
that direction. Can you see where he is right now?
He doesn't crouch down anymore. He stands fully upright and goes on his tiptoes ever so slightly, just to peek over the inn structure just to your right. He raises his hands to blot out the glare of the sun as he peers over the body of water. Yes, I can see that he is still aloft within the air, high above the water. Safe. I have not seen any other life within the air, so hopefully our druid party member safely comes back.
Yeah, I hope so. I did see a bit of a weird patch over in his direction, and I kind of did ask him to go over. I think maybe it's best if we gather the rest of the party and figure out what we're going to do next.
Indeed. I do not wish to hang around for too long in this place.
Understand. I'll get Adrick and Kokopelli. We'll be right back. And I'll head towards the church.
Sure thing. Locke, you're across the body of water. You are headed in a northeasterly fashion, trying to climb the winds, darting down, trying to make as much speed as possible to go across this large expanse. With the time that it's taken you to get to where you are now, and with what is left in front of you, going via boat would probably take near 2-3 hours by the rowboats that are back at the town. You circle around and you don't skirt the water's edge on the other side, but you do now have a full clear sight of what lies on the opposite edge of this loch. Much like the settlement that you have flown from, is almost a mirror image. Almost the same number of buildings, the same larger structures, however, only their footprint remains. The large boulder-like foundations that would have propped up the wooden posts, the rendered walls, these slate roofs, the tall chimneys of what should be there as the temple, the tavern. It seems as if this entire settlement has been razed to the ground. You can see that there is wood strewn about, wood that would have made up the rafters of roofs and keeping up the eaves to the building, cast aside, and even the palisade walls, these tall tree trunk diameter poles have been completely ripped from their bedding, and there have been these large break-ins into the towers that would have pinned the alignment, the array of these palisade walls. They seem to be tried to be torn down by something large.
Do I see much overgrowth over the ruined buildings?
No.
Maybe an indication as to how long it's been since they were demolished.
From the odd weed here and there that would quickly grow within the rock, with the unkept verges of the lawns around the longhouses. Again, this seems to have been abandoned or destroyed in recent weeks, maybe a month. But from what tore the place apart, you do not know. There are no vines or creepers that go against the ruins of the town. There is no smoke wisping from the remains of any of the larger buildings that may have housed a fire or two.
So how long have I been in bed form now?
How long can you remain in that?
An hour.
You sure? Is it not in regards to your level?
I'm pretty sure it's an hour. Let me double check this, because I've got a feeling I'm going to really want it to be in regards to my level, aren't I?
Half of your druid level rounded down, so 4 hours.
Okay, sweet.
So you are about halfway through that time.
Okay.
You have your internal body clock goes ping, half time.
Okay.
It would be safe to double back if you do not wish to land on the other side, though.
No, I'll double back now.
Okay, you are on your way back. So I will say that you are probably on your way back just as Bree is about to start her conversation with Harshnag. Okay?
Yep. Cool.
Weylin, you have made your way north. You have gone up the road, pushing aside the almost like slate-like rock that makes up these roads, but being very careful to keep to some of the footprints that you have already made in this area, as well as keeping to what you know definitely would have been Harshnag's large impressions beside the other indentations in the road that were made by the more cleaner, sharp, edged footprints. You cannot truly find any sign of groups of people moving through here, especially with the double-rutted remnants of this large structure that has been brought into the settlement. But you do venture further north.
Yeah, I'm looking for, of course, tracks, but also this air quote structure, which would look more like some form of large wagon to me at this point. that would surely be going be along this entire stretch.
Yeah, so the ruts don't break, they don't stop, they don't turn or diverge from the path.
Mm-hmm. And between the two ruts, is there just 2 ruts? That's just an assumption. Yeah, I heard a nod.
Technically, there's 2 pairs of ruts. So there's a rut that seems to be sort of the more central to the road, and then almost erratically, there's another set of ruts. These tracks that go out of the, well, they could go out or could come in, but there are 2 sets almost overlapping one another.
Okay. So potentially 2 of these constructs, or just.
Sorry, it's that clarity one. No, sorry. They all come down, they loop round in the main plaza and double back on themselves. It is the same thing that seemed to have made these ruts.
Right. Yes, of course. Okay. Fine. And there's no real discernible footprints of on a large scale, no.
No.
Okay.
Only that of what you would have found earlier.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll walk out for about 10 minutes. Look forward. Notice that these ruts continue onwards, and head on back.
Okay. The farms that you do go past, the familiar tops to the vegetables that are growing, they would have only been onions and carrots, not of the vegetable that was mentioned within the... Oh, hang on. Would you have known that? I don't think you would have known that. Did they tell you about the farms up north? They did, didn't they? That's the reason why you left. Oh, you left the room.
He left the room before we mentioned the turnips.
Okay. Rolling back, bit of a retcon. All the vegetables seem to be there intact. Nothing has been pulled. Onions, carrots, that is it.
Right, fair enough. I head on back.
Okay. Adrick, Kokopelli, you are about to emerge from the temple.
I didn't mention I'm bringing the book with me.
Can if you want. I honestly don't mind if you keep that book.
It's not that big, presumably.
It's probably no bigger than your prayer book. It's a bit hefty, but a book is a book with that amount of paper. It's going to be of that weight, but it's very easy to carry around.
Show it. I want to show it to the others.
Okay, no problem. So you can see that Bree and Hareingon just finishing up some conversation as Hareingon is looking out across the water, and in the distance, just behind Hareingon, you can see that Weylin is about to double back on himself.
Okay, I'm going to join Bree and Hareingon.
Okay, Hareingon sort of peers down to you, not saying a word, or waiting for you to divulge what you may have found.
Okay. Oh. So Kokopelli found this book in the temple. On the last page, there's a diary entry talking about prayers being held for one of the farms. That diary entry is about a month old. There's no one around.
Worrisome indeed. Worrisome. I do feel that we should not hang around for too long. Are we going to be walking around the loch or going over the loch, Adrick? What say you?
I know people fish in the loch, but people have told me stories about monsters in it. I don't know if any of the boats are big enough to hold you, with all respect. And we'd have to leave the oxen.
Indeed.
So, not that we don't want to fall in, that's for sure. We don't. But yeah, what do the rest of you think? How would you cross, Hareingon?
I will follow you wherever you deem the party is safest to go. The water is no issue for me. Yes, you are quite right that I wouldn't be able to fit within one of the boats. However, I am a mighty fine swimmer, and I do feel that I could probably get across this mass of water just across from us.
But yeah, we don't know where people have gone. Did they run away, or were they taken? And if they were taken or ran away, where have they gone?
I had a quick chat with Hareingon, and he suspects that it might be fire giants who have invaded and possibly kidnapped people and turned them into slaves. That worries me a little bit. And I do feel like I kind of want to save them if we can.
Yeah, but equally, would those same fire giants have taken people in slavery from my home as well?
That's a possibility.
Well, that's another reason for going.
I guess we have to
Follow where they went.
Yeah. See where they're staying. I'll look over to where Locke is and see how far away he is at the moment. And see.
You squint. It's a bit difficult, but with your keen cat eyes, you can see that he has actually sort of made halfway back to you from where he would have banked around after checking whatever he tried to find on the other side. So he'll be back within 5-10 minutes.
Okay. Guess until then, maybe we could just do one more quick loop around the area, making sure we're not missing anything.
Yeah, look for cellars but there's no sign anyone's been out. But we didn't actually look for cellars. I didn't in any of the I haven't been in the buildings, so maybe we'd look in the buildings.
Yeah. Okay.
I believe a question.
Go upstairs.
Sorry, Weylin.
Did somebody already ask if the buildings had cellars?
I asked if the temple had a cellar.
Right. Okay.
Or a crypt. But Kokopelli went in the pub, but he didn't spend very long in there. So maybe we should look. There's probably a cellar in the pub, and there might be rooms upstairs. We could look.
Yeah,
I sort of had a look at the main bit. What was it? There were some bottles already opened, probably from what we've gathered, maybe open for a month. I didn't bother looking upstairs. It seemed a bit sketch, but we can check in as a group. I think I feel comfortable more doing that, maybe.
Yeah, might look for things that have been open more recently. If somebody's hiding here, then they might be taking food from the pub or something.
Yeah, I think we could.
Yeah.
Okay.
We should do that. Check all the buildings, look for any possible survivors. Then maybe we can meet back here in 5.
Do we split up to do that?
Can do.
Yeah.
Maybe get
Cover
two people
more
to
ground.
the inn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can certainly split up. I will do probably that small building next to the large, like, stone hill thing.
I'll go with you.
Cool. Okay, yeah. If you guys just want to move your tokens onto the buildings that you're going to be looking at in waiting for Locke, I'll run through some stuff for you. Sorry. I didn't realise. I thought everyone was looking at the map. There we are. Bloop.
Did I check the other small buildings? Because I think I only went into like one of them.
You've peered through those other longhouses with their windows that are open, and they were pretty much almost not cookie cutter like the same. Some of them were a couple of storehouses, but the remainder of them were living quarters for whoever would have called this place home. As you were going sort of in and out of the buildings, etc., you didn't really notice any doors that would have been that would have gone down into like a root cellar, for example. But what building would you have gone to? Sorry, would it just been in those small buildings that you would have gone to, or are you going with Adrick?
One sec, sorry. I think the longish buildings. I went sort of the middle one.
Okay, yep.
But if I can go to, let's say, the furthest left of those ones, I sort of should feel like we should find like trapdoors and stuff as well.
Okay.
So I can try and find those if there's like rugs and stuff, maybe covering them.
Yeah, of course. Okay, what was this? Adrick, we'll do you first, okay? So, you walk through the door. The bell above lightly chimes. You are within what would have been the inn or the tavern of this place. You have actually been to this tavern to stay for a little bit of the day before you would have trekked further on your journey in search for answers all those weeks ago. With the amount that is left out and with the descriptions that Kokopelli would have given you earlier, it is a bit unnerving to notice that everything is just still, lifeless, but full of its own contents. There's a couple of bits of mouldy food here and there that would have died and perished due to not being covered or stored correctly. And sort of in the centre of this building, there is a central staircase that wraps up into the first floor, the upper floor of this building.
Okay. Is there an obvious trapdoor or anything like that?
Nothing inside. There is a store area near what would probably be the makeshift kitchen of this establishment, only capable of doing like the lightest of meals for those coming to the inn. There's a few sort of packed jars of salted meats, etc. All the fresh goods are perished, also have perished. You wouldn't be able to take any of that. All the knives, all of the utensils used to prepare food are out. There is a cleaver that is lodged within the top of the chopping block. But apart from that, there's no sign of like a wine cellar of sorts, at least not in this area of the building.
We're a bit close to the water's edge, maybe. All right, I'll go upstairs.
Okay. As you go upstairs, you can feel the breeze of the wind come through the landing. All the doors seem to be ajar. One does seem to be swinging pleasantly in the breeze from time to time as you feel it come across the floorboards. But again, there's no sounds, nothing, but there's the gentle creak of the hinges of that door.
There's no animal life at all. So
none.
The food hadn't been nibbled by rats or anything?
No.
Okay. I'll presume standard corridor with doors off it. I'll open the first door.
Okay. The bed sheets are all strewn everywhere. Almost, again, painting that picture of someone left in a big hurry. You can see that across the rug in the centre of this room, there are some fairly larger than normal footprints that have trodden mud into the woven fabric of the rug.
Okay. What sort of footprints? Are they like boot prints or bare feet?
Like boot prints. There's no like imprints of bare feet.
Okay. But much larger than human size, so
yeah, a bit bigger than a regular human. Definitely bigger than, your average dwarf. Probably erring on the side of a tall person, a very tall person.
Does it look like the room's been searched in any way, or
no? All the personal effects that would have been in this room for the person or the people that were staying in this room are all there.
Okay, I'll go and look in the next room.
Okay, again, the same picture is painted in front of you. The bed sheets are actually still on the bed, but they have been pushed to one side in the opposite direction as a person would have got out of bed. There's no rug in here, but you can see there's a couple of scuffs on the wood that is fresher than the hewn top surface, the worn top surface. So something would have either tripped or scuffed it as it went across. But apart from that, no sign of recent living.
Okay. How many rooms are there?
There's about 8 along the landing. It's not the biggest of inns.
Very quiet though. Okay, I'll go back onto the landing and shout, "Hello?
No answer.
Is there anybody here?"
The only thing that replies to you is that slowly creak of the door blowing in that draft.
I'll head towards that squeaky door.
Okay. As you get closer and closer to that door, it does get a bit cold in this area, almost as if someone has left a window open for far too long. You peer through the crack. You see nothing. Again, you see as if bed sheets have been crumpled atop the bed. That is just opposite the door, but you don't see anything else.
Okay, I'll push the door wider.
Okay. You push the door wider, and what you see in front is a large gaping hole that is almost being punched in from the outside. The casing of the window, its frames shattered across the floor on the opposite side of this room, almost as if it's been caved in from the outside in. Part of the bed frame is slightly askew of this 4-poster bed, but apart from that, with its missing window, again, the personal effects of those who would have been staying in this room remain.
Okay, so it's just been pushed in. It's not been sort of pulled out again.
No. Well, it's been like full on, like the frame, the casing, with all the panes and everything, is on the opposite side of the room. So as you push the door bit wider. You can see that it's by one of the sideboards on the opposite end of this room. As if a great force has like shattered it in.
Is there any blood?
There is no signs of cuts or anything like that. There's no trails, no streaks, nothing leading from the bed to the window, to the bed to the door. As you just peer in a bit more and you push the door ever so slightly, you do hear a clank behind the door. Almost as if something's toppled over.
Is the floor safe? Does it look damaged at all?
It does not, no, but you do see sort of wedged in the slightly open crack of a floor where two floorboards butt up against one another, or should butt up against one another. It seems to be a bent wrought iron nail.
On the floor?
On the floor, loose.
Okay, like someone's ripped up a floorboard?
You try to find the row of nails that this would be missing from, but all are present. Are you sort of like stepping into the room, sort of trying to like look around and find the missing area?
Yeah, okay, so I'm confused. There's a bent nail just loose on the floor?
Yep.
Has it come from the window, or is it?
You look around a bit more. You look at the window frame that's on the opposite end of the room. Potentially, but as you turn, you notice that there are a couple of planks behind the door. Some that have had nails hit into them. One of them seems to be just loosely swinging from the door frame. Looking on the opposite side of this door, the one that would have the lock going into it, you can see that there are a couple of holes that would have been freshly made by nails.
Oh, so someone's tried to nail a plank across the door?
Yes.
Unsuccessfully?
With how long these nails are, and the nails that you can see going through the boards, they would have gone. They would have gone through the casing of the door quite easily. It's almost as if something has either managed to break into here, casting those hoardings away, trying to get to those that would have maybe tried to have this place as a safe area, a safe haven away from whoever or whatever was ransacking this village.
Okay, so this particular room, not only has someone smashed the window right through, but they've also forced their way in through the door.
Yes.
Is there anything else that looks out of place in the room? Does it look like something's been taken, or any floorboards been torn up, or? All
the floorboards seem to be intact. There's a slight wave to them, though, with being made from natural wood. But apart from that, you can't see anything that would have been dislodged, any warped boards, nothing.
I could do it, so nothing warped. What about the furniture? Is there anything?
Some of it seems to be a little bit sort of strewn around a little bit, as if something large has sort of come through here and moved it around, or a large mass of people have sort of pushed things around to make room. There are a couple of chairs in corners of the room that are oddly placed, almost as if someone may have like tried to get them out of the way, for example. But yeah, nothing seems to be toppled over, no dressers overturned, nothing.
Okay. Anything under the bed?
There is a small chest under the bed.
I'll hook it out.
Okay. It looks to be unlocked.
Okay. I'll flip it open.
Okay. You open the clasp, you pop the hatch of the chest, and there are a lot of ladies' dresses, frocks, t-shirts, blouses, all neatly folded within this chest.
Okay.
It's not that deep of a chest. It's about probably no deeper than like a foot.
Okay. I'll have a ferret around inside. Is there anything else in it other than clothing?
No, it's just clothing.
Okay. I'll shut it up again and push it back. Is there a access point to an attic space? Does it look like there's an attic?
The shallowness of the roofs from the outside may have gave the illusion that yes, there would have been a loft space, but there doesn't seem to be any hatches or trapdoors within the landing or within the rooms that you've had a bit more of a thorough look around. No, nothing that would get into that roof space.
No ladder around or
no. There is one outside, but that would have only been getting to the flower baskets that would have been hanging from small little hangers outside the windowsills.
Okay. I'll head back, I think. I'll have a quick look in the other rooms as I go by to see if there's anything different. But I won't go into them unless there's something obvious. I'll just push the doors open and have a look.
Cool. Bree, Weylin, the pair of you go off to that singular building, just slightly down the side. The side seems to slope down towards the water's edge. This seems to be the general store of the town. You look through the windows, and there seems to be shelving as you approach the main front door of this building.
I'll open the door.
We will. Yep.
Okay. Weylin, are you in agreement of opening the door?
No. Yes, of course. Go on.
I do it anyway.
Yeah, I do what I want.
Okay, so the door is not locked, Bree. It's very easy enough to open. You can see that the rugs within here have kind of been slightly shuffled about a bit, almost as if someone's caught their foot and wrapped the rolled the rug on top of itself. There's a couple of goods here and there within the more immediate aisles that you can see, drop a tin here and there, sort of a perished apple from time to time that seems to be caught underneath the bottom rung of the shelving. No one is at the teller, the desk, where you would normally pay for your wares. None of the other windows are open or ajar.
I'll step inside and
Okay.
look behind the shelves.
Mm-hmm. So along the shelves, you can see there's numerous of preserved goods wrapped. There's a few tinned items, jarred items. There is in the far back, which look to be a more general goods, so hammers, nails, the normal items that you would want to buy to keep things in order or to fix something. Nothing really stands out from the shelves. This would just be your normal, average, everyday shop.
So Weylin will, as he comes in, survey the floor.
Okay. As you go around the aisles and just keeping an eye out for any uncertain footing, you come to the teller desk, the sort of the more secured area with some of the more finer items for a store. You peer over the two swinging doors that almost like saloon doors that someone would have to go through, and you can see just underneath a thick-ish rug there does look to be a slight change in the way that the wood runs, maybe alluding to a trapdoor.
Weylin will pull the rug.
Okay, you pull the rug as you dislodge some of the dust and sort of waft the air around. There seems to be a slight putrid whiff come up through what should be the floorboards, but you have now uncovered a trapdoor, a cellar door down into the foundations of this building.
Is that what I think it is?
Yeah, it's a trapdoor.
Let's open it.
Yes.
With being the creatures that you are, it does make your fur curl. There does seem to be sort of a bit of a rotten smell emanating from this area, but you open the trapdoor. I wouldn't say a swarm of flies, but numerous flies do fly out from being released from this cavity underneath. You peer down, Weylin, the light from the window just behind you that was bleeding daylight over the countertop onto the floor. You can see that down here there seems to have been a place that would have held a cold storage of sorts, hanging dried meats, perishable goods. Unfortunately, they haven't been rotated, they haven't been thrown out. And for a moment, maybe deep down, you maybe thought there might have been a body down here, but unfortunately it is just perished meats of a cow, maybe a sheep from here and there. The dried, cured meats have kind of spoiled. There's a lot of shelves of onions that have just rotted.
Okay. I don't really want to go down there, Bree.
Same. Should we keep
Let's
it
just close
open?
this up. Yeah.
Or open? Keep it open? Probably want to.
Well, Okay, yeah. Okay, let's keep it open. Let's air it out if we do plan to come back.
I don't think so, but like I'm hoping if we can save the villagers, wherever they are, they can come back to this place and not have to do as much work to get things back to normal. And I think this is one step that we can do.
Yeah, let's leave it open.
Okay. Good job, us. And let's head to the next building, I guess.
Okay. The pair of you leave the building, yes?
Yeah, we'll head across the yard.
Okay. Adrick is now on the outside of the inn as you just start to walk past Harshnag.
Adrick, did you find anything?
It looks like, to me, they were hiding, or someone was trying to barricade themselves into one of the end rooms, and the window got smashed in, the door got pushed in, and then they've gone. But it looked potentially everyone who was in the tavern all rushed into that one room and tried to barricade the door, and then got dragged out again. Whatever put the window in and smashed in the door. They had enough time to be able to barricade the door.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But that's it. There's no animal life. Have you noticed? There's no rats. There's no birds.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's just nothing.
There's food left out that I'd expect rats and mice to have eaten it, and it's not weird.
Yeah, we've just discovered a cold storage which has not been touched over the whole time. This place has been empty.
Nice. So what's that saying? That's saying it got hot and wasn't sealed?
Yes. It must have been ill. Well, of course, it would have been ill-maintained. So,
Okay.
yeah, it looks like things have just started rotting in there.
Do we keep searching? So that's the tavern, the temple, and whatever that building you've just come from. Kokopelli looked in some of the others, and they were empty.
Yeah.
We find more evidence of where people have tried to defend themselves.
Yeah, I'm just surprised nobody's dropped anything in the struggle in the basement that you've described. Seems too clean.
Yeah, and it's not like it looks like it's been searched or anything like that.
Maybe the fire giants, I am assuming this is the fire giants, took everyone at night, so there would be no...
Yeah.
I think that's a good call. It looks like people were getting out of bed.
The candles are burnt out, which would assume that it was pitch dark when the event happened. Otherwise, all the candles would have been blown out during the event or before the event.
But if they're in bed, they would have had the candles off.
Precisely.
So they're up, they've lit candles, and then come out. Why would you come out? If you're in the temple with the lights on, why would you then open the door to come out? Because someone's taken your family hostage. That's the only reason. You'd come out because there's a pressing reason to come out, wouldn't you?
I think
So they've gone quietly. Sorry, Bree, go on.
I think there isn't really much for us here to get.
Yeah, we've got to go north.
Yeah. So we're just waiting for Locke, and then we can head out, I think.
Yeah, I want to get home as quickly as possible to see what's happened there, but appreciate we want to find where these poor families have gone and rescue them if we can.
You've been here before, right?
Yeah, it's obviously I left where I come from. It's on the other side of the lake, up the mountain. So you come down the lake. There's villages on either side. You can get from the village on that side. You can get a boat across to here, and then pick up the road to go south. Which is, yeah, you then travel, and eventually you meet Locke. Well, maybe not everybody meets Locke, but I did.
Okay. So do you actually know anyone that lives here? Because you could potentially send them a message.
It's an interesting thought. It was months ago. I went to the tavern. I met the man who served behind the bar, and woman who made the food. Might be a bit of a stretch.
Doesn't hurt to try.
This is true. What do we want to do? Do we want to search more houses, wait for Locke, sit and send a message?
Oh, I don't see the harm in searching a couple more houses whilst we wait for Locke. I'm not really sure where he is.
He's over there.
I was going to say, I'm already back. I'm currently sitting on the windowsill just behind you.
Ah!
Just quietly watching this unfold.
In which case, we should depart. There's nothing for us here. I think we've gleaned as much information as we can. What are your thoughts?
I agree.
Yeah, I'm willing to try sending a message, but what do we want to send?
Do you know anyone of this place, Adric? Personally?
I've met the people who were in the tavern. I suppose the question might be, how well can I visualize them? Can I even remember their name? Probably not.
You might be able to remember the first names of people, but there's nothing really that you can pick out to force this message through. It does run the very high risk of failing.
What people I do know much better would be my family at home.
Mm-hmm.
I could try and reach my sisters or my father or my brother.
Sure.
What do I want to say?
Ask if they're safe. Maybe if they know anything about this village here.
I'm just going to switch back into elf form, half-elf form. I didn't see anything around as I was flying. There's a village pretty much worse off than this one on the other side. Are we best just moving on?
What do you mean it's worse off?
Well, looks like it was pretty much like as this one is, just a little bit more beaten up. I didn't really land, but very reminiscent of this village.
Any people?
No, I said exactly like this village. No people, nothing alive, just desolate. Are we best heading on to your home? Getting a move on to at least, I mean, we can send a message on the way, but are we best off just getting there to see if it's how everyone is?
Or do we try to rescue the people who've been taken?
Well, we don't know where they've gone.
I think the only way is north, to be honest. These tracks lead north.
We've got to go north and up and round on the path around the lake.
Going north around the lake would actually be a little bit longer than going south around the lake if you were to cart it around. It would take you about 5 hours of journey time to do that. Across the loch, however, you've with describing things to you earlier, it's probably about a 2 to 3 hour row, if that, to get across. It definitely is quicker, but again, you will, whilst you were away, Adric, you did point out that you will lose the oxen.
We didn't see any boats, though, did I?
So there are boats on this side.
Okay.
But there are none sort of in the main body of water of the loch as you were going across it, and there was none on the other side either that you could see.
Okay.
And Harshnag would have to swim. Which way is the bridge? Is there a bridge at the south end as well as the north?
Sorry, what do you mean by bridge?
There's a river running into the loch, I thought. I'll have to open the big map again.
The direction that you came from the south to the loch, you haven't actually gone over any bridge to get to this place safely. There may be a river higher up that stems from this loch into the cold wood. But you do know that there is a river that flows into the loch from the mountainside on the other side.
Yeah. What do we want to do? Do we want to get Harvest to swim while we...
Well, the tracks head north. It's only going to add a couple of hours onto our trip to take that route around. At least then we get to follow the tracks and, as you say, see what happened to the villagers. It's only a couple of hours onto the trek. Could always just head that way, kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah, I think it'll be well worth it. At least we'll be able to bottom out our concerns.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's going to take you at least 3/4 of a day's worth of travel. So you will get going north. You will be very much in the late evening. Going south, you would be sort of in the midst of twilight, so sort of in the middle of dusk. Again,
What does Harshlag think?
He shrugs. Again, Adrick, we are here to find and visit your home by any means necessary. Again, I am fine with walking, and I understand that you are far smaller than I am. If you wish to keep the oxen, I do feel that the safest route would be to go south, but we could potentially find where these tracks have gone, or at least put a pin into where they maybe deviate from this path that we are to take. But alas, I do not mind a swim.
I say we head north.
I'm of the same mind.
Okay, it's 2 votes for North.
I'm in the other building
Kokopelli?
still, so I've no idea.
Oh, I thought.
Oh,
Hang on, I thought we did you.
oh, you've been quiet.
No.
Apologies, everyone. Whilst you're in the midst of these discussions, Kokopelli, you've been going around the longhouses, searching the outskirts of the perimeter of each one first. There is no sign of a root cellar, no sign of like a shelter underneath. There only a door at the front and a door at the back, with some minor side doors here and there dotted along the longer walls of these buildings.
So inside the buildings.
So inside the buildings, much like that of what you saw previously when you first came here, it's just a living quarter, bunk beds, some double beds in the corners of these rooms, chests of drawers, mirrors, places to eat, large dining tables, a slew of children's toys here and there in a couple of these buildings. A couple of areas maybe to store food, but as you go through each one of these, they seem to be emptied. This is the only area that you have at least found that there is nothing in an area that should contain food.
Could I go into one of the buildings and just see if there could be a trapdoor hidden, possibly?
Going up and down the main, it's just one large room with spanning beams aloft in the ceiling space. There is nothing. There is no. You sort of stamp on the floor in certain areas that you would expect to maybe have something of a bit of a secret, but no, you cannot find anything underneath. You do notice that it is a bit of a floating floor, so it is set away from the underside. Sorry, it's set away from the grass or the rock below. It's on raised foundations, but there is nothing to get into that space.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just leave the building and then find the others, because they'll probably be the same with the other buildings.
Yeah.
If they're all pretty much the same.
So they're all talking. You come up the what looks to be like almost like a little embankment between some of the middle longhouses onto the road, and you can see that there's your party and the Harshlag talking amongst themselves at the corner of the inn, and the corner of the main plaza.
Before even saying anything, I would just scream north and point, because I made my mind up.
Okay, 3 votes for North. I think that's settled then, yes?
Yeah.